is Diana Redding, and I'm married to my husband, Gray. We've got 2 kids that are basically our world. Lincoln, who's older, he's 4 years old, and we've got Rosie, who is our 18-month-old daughter, and why we're here today. Rosie's full name actually is Rosalie. You know, we thought about our families, my grandmother a lot. My grandmother's name, actually in Vietnamese, meant flower or rose. And so we just loved the name and thought of her and said, hey, we think this is it, Rosalie. And we lovingly call her Rosie because we feel like it fits her little personality. The first thing that we saw is she wasn't meeting her milestones, like being able to lift her head because of muscle weakness. She had a hard time moving her arms and her legs. She would not bear weight on her legs, like a lot of small infants will do when you hold them. That was, in the beginning, really what we saw for Rosie. Was number one, she couldn't eat. She couldn't take anything in my mouth. You know, her tears were not developing. And then just the normal baby milestones that you would expect weren't coming.
You're programmed to worry and think the worst never happens. It's always just, oh, you're worried, and it just ends up being fine. So it was hard that was the exact opposite. Every 3 weeks or month, it was worse than you thought it was going to be, and then it was worse than you thought it was going to be. So getting the diagnosis, I think the main thing that was hard about that is the idea that it was just something that was potentially going to resolve on its own was off the table, and it was going to be a lifelong thing, and there was going to be broader disabilities than just the swallowing and the achalasia involved.
It took months for us to even get the diagnosis of GMPPA. You know, she was losing weight, not getting nutrition. We had a feeding tube. There were so many medical challenges. It was kind of this catch-22 that we really wanted to figure out what was going on. But when we actually got the diagnosis, it was gut-wrenching. It made it real. And honestly, I just wanted to run away. One of our first questions to the specialists, and specifically one of our first questions to disease specialists, how long will she live? That was a really hard one to ask that question. And it was even harder to hear the answer. We don't know. GMPPA is an ultra-rare genetic disease, meaning that we've been able to pinpoint what causes GMPPA.
It's hard to know what down the road what her life is going to be like. She's going to have some degree of intellectual disabilities. She's going to have other challenges that we just don't know about yet. As you start looking into it more, we quickly, within a week or two, learn more than the doctors, really. In a lot of cases, there's just not much information out there about this. You find out there is a lot of promise for developments that could lead to a cure. But you have to do it yourself because it's so rare that nobody else is going to really do anything or fund anything. There's just no incentive for anyone else to do that work. The resources, the science is there. There's a lot of people that can start this work immediately, and really what they're going to be working on is a relatively simple problem. It's a single gene, it's a single mutation. There's a lot of ways they can really get to a cure that can help Rosie and a lot of other kids.
Gene therapy works the best the earlier it is given as children develop. So as soon as Rosie can get it, obviously that'll give her the best outcome. And what we hope with the gene therapy is a lot of the neurological damage can be improved or potentially reversed. You know, Bloom for a Cure, to me, to our family, really is the hope, the potential that we want Rosie to have for her life. You know, it's her well-being, her thriving, and for us to rest easy saying, 10, 20 years down the road that we did everything that we could to make her life better and all the kids with GMPPA.
Whatever you think about, it's just you want her to be happy, and you want really big, you want her to be healthy, and you want her to not be in pain. You want her to be able to have a meaningful life, all these vague things, but that's all you can really think about because you just went through all this and you realize you You just don't know what's going to happen. A lot of it's outside of your control.
There are a couple big steps and milestones to get to the cure, but the overall price tag that is on it is quite large. It's $4 million, we've been told, for us to be able, from the beginning to end, and the end being kids with GMPPA will be able to be treated with the cure. I mean, we need all the support and the help that we can get, and any donation to Bloom for a Cure will specifically go to funding the gene therapy development, the cure development. With gene therapy, I really think what it'll give her is not just longevity, but also a quality of life, to be able to have that full, happy childhood that we all envision when we have kids.